Now, for more on the wave of executive orders by the U.S. President, global affairs analyst Nweke joins me from Brussels, Belgium. Good to have you join us.
Thank you. Thank you, Precious, for having me.
So just 1 week in office already. President Trump has now spent 1 week in office, and we have seen a flurry of executive orders and directives. I just wanted to ask you what you make of the shock policy shift so far.
It cannot surprise anybody, Precious, that President Donald Trump has moved into action just the very minutes after his swearing in. The reason it wouldn't surprise anybody is that what he's essentially doing is unleashing the promise that he made to the American people when he campaigned to be president, to return to the White House, the second coming of President Trump. Now, he was very, very robust in what his policies are. And the fact that he got elected means that the American people, at least the average American, citizen, actually believes that the direction that he is taking America is basically where America should be heading for. And so, true to his promise, he has actually, swung into action. And what we see today is exactly what he had promised. Now, that is on the reality side of the situation. Now, another part of the reality is how much all of these, promises that he made and now unleashing will actually unfold exactly as he has intended them. Because you do need to understand, Precious, that America has very strong institutions. And so America is standing today as the beacon of, democracy. It is because its institutions are very strong, and they have managed to actually ward off, practices by American president, not American king, because they don't have kings. And so they have maintained that beacon of democracy because there are institutions to challenge things that are unlawful. The summary here, Precious, is the fact that those, actions that Donald Trump is carrying out that are lawful, they will stand. Those that are unlawful will definitely not stand because the institutions are there to ensure that they don't stand. Has the world got anything to worry about? Yes, there are a lot to worry about, but not, to the, extreme of worries.
So it is not a surprise to many people because he's saying what he said he's going to do, but it is a shock to a lot of people who work in the foreign development assistance circle, especially because there is now a directive to pause foreign aid, and that is extremely broad. There are no specifics, and it also, it is wide-ranging to a lot of foreign aids. What kind of impact could we see arising from this, especially for humanitarian assistance and Medicaid?
The impact is going to be very penetrating. The truth of the matter, and that is a shock, is that many lives, and I mean lives like yours and mine, will be lost as a consequence of this action that he has actually ordered. Now, the other side to it is that it also opens up opportunities for other countries that are actually in competition with America, that have continued to challenge America's hegemony, that have continued to challenge America's dominance. Now, the actions of Donald Trump in terms of looking inwards and placing America first and above everything else actually creates opportunity for some of these countries, and that includes the European Union, to now come up and say, hey, we are not going to let these people die meaninglessly. We are going to take action, and it means that they too will step up their own, international aid to some of these countries. One very, very telling thing here, Precious, is that as we speak, Bloomberg who was, mayor of New York, has actually, come up to say that, the fund that Donald Trump has canceled for World Health Organization or one of those, very vital institutions, that his foundation is going to take up the bill and begin to pay it. That is within the United States of America. Outside the United States of America, China, Turkey, and the rest of them and the collective of other countries are also gearing up to step in where America is withdrawing its leadership. So it is not going to be all hell in the long run, but the shock that it is sending out to the world, in the immediate is very real.
All right, so let's talk about the recent directive, which is the one coming from the Justice Department. The directive to fire more than 12 employees who worked on the criminal prosecutions, his criminal prosecutions. It is not clear if those employees want to challenge it, but President Trump said it is to stop the weaponization of government. And I just dwelling on the word weaponization. Speak on that for us as well.
Well, it does look to me that part of that weaponization is actually what Donald Trump himself is doing right now. Because to a very large extent, it does look like what he is on about is a vengeance mission. Now, you don't go about firing people who were doing their legitimate job by investigating a president who was alleged to have done things that were wrong. Now, what you do is allow the system to take its course. But it doesn't look like that is exactly what he's doing now. Now, what people could argue that indeed placing them on suspension is perhaps within his rights as president. But it remains to be seen. Like you said, they may not have the net to challenge this. They may just decide, well, let me just get on with my life. There are other opportunities elsewhere. But there are those who, for ideological reasons, will challenge it, even if it's just one challenge. That challenge will, take its, natural course, and the court will eventually rule whether Donald Trump is right or wrong. But in the face of it, it doesn't look like he is tackling weaponization. He is actually weaponizing, the same thing that he was, that he is claiming to be running away from.
All right, so let's bring this back home to Africa. President Trump has shown over the weekend, when you consider the dispute he had with President Sanchez of Colombia, which happens to be America's strongest ally in South America, he has shown that, look, allies and adversaries will be treated alike when it comes to his America's first principle. Now, when you consider that, how is Africa positioned in all of this?
Africa is positioned in a very weak and precarious situation. Like the figures you actually projected at the beginning of the bulletin, you would see the amount of money that came into Nigeria, for instance, during the past administration of Joe Biden. Now, such money going out of the Nigerian financial system, will actually send them a shock financial wave to the system. But like I said, it may not be all gory stories, because where he is creating this vacuum, others are going to possibly step in. There are signs to that effect. Now, let us look back to the America itself. Now, some of these developmental aids are actually part of America. They are integral part of America's foreign policy, because international assistance is no longer a standalone. They are actually part of preserving America's interest, that is the national and security interests of America in other parts of the world. So when such funds are withdrawn, it also means that it has a way or the other of affecting America in terms of terrorism, in terms of stability in other parts of the world. So ultimately, this might turn out to be a short-sighted way of going about the...
If I hear you correctly, it's more like saying, look, if it's not careful, America's soft power will also begin to decline because of directive like this. Thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure to have you on. Global Affairs Analyst, Collins Nweke.
Thank you. Thank you so much.